How do I deal with my selfish sister? My sister 31/F and I 24/F grew up very close, even though there is an age gap of 7 years between us. I always looked up to my big sister and have always thought we had a special bond, but as I have been getting older and older, our relationship has been deteriorating. For the purpose of this, I will refer to my sister as Cassie. Cassie and I did a lot of things together when I was younger, mainly because we were new to the country, and as a younger sister, when I went outside the house, I was usually accompanied by Cassie. That made me believe that we were friends and we can talk to each other about everything, which we kind of did. She would tell me about her friends and boyfriend, and I would eagerly listen and give my 2 cents because it made me feel important and like one of her friends despite our age gap. But I never really had that reciprocated. What I had to say about my friends and events of my life were quickly dismissed and overshadowed by Cassie, but I didn't really mind. I was just happy to be included. Problems started arising little by little when I entered my senior year of high school, and I started dating my now finance. I had shared with her that I liked this boy and I wanted him to ask me to prom, and that conversation was met with yelling at me and telling me that I was a wild child, and that I was to be ashamed of myself. Because of that response, I kept my relationship with Brian M/25, FK name for finance, to Miss Lef. The issue with me and Cassie grew stronger as I entered college. I was not able to talk to her about anything in my life without feeling judged, getting yelled at, or getting called names. An example of this behavior that really stuck with me was my freshman year of college. I was very lonely. We just had lost our older brother suddenly and my family was mourning. I had never been away from home and it was really difficult to be away during that time. It also didn't help that I didn't know anybody at the college I was at. The only thing that made me feel better was tradition food that my mom used to send me. When my friends were going back home to visit, I had asked my mom to make me some food and send it with my friends, which she didn't have a problem with, but from Cassie I was met with paragraphs of texts getting called selfish and inconsiderate. She had let me know that my mom is too tired to make anything and that I should essentially suck it up, and I remember looking at my phone and completely breaking down and crying because it just broke me. There are many stories similar, but things like this kept occurring, and I kept ignoring and keeping to myself. Cassie then went on to get engaged, and her finance decided they didn't want a wedding. This becomes important later. So they moved in together and had 2 beautiful children. During those times, I was there every day at the hospital doing my best to take care of her needs, taking time off work to help with the kids as well. But as time went on and I become more independent, she developed a habit of guilting me or painting a bad picture of me because I decided to see my friends or boyfriend and not help her out. My friends and boyfriend enjoy traveling, so I started going on trips a lot, at least 2 times a year, and begin a professional job, and that made me a little less available to help out. I also became the primary caretakers of our parents, which added to my unavailability. So every time we see each other, she would point out what I didn't do rather than what I am doing in the moment. How I must not miss the kids and how unloving I am, and how I always choose my friends over my family. By then things were really piling up for me, and I tried to have multiple sit-downs with her about how the things she says make me feel, but the conversations went nowhere. They would actually end with me feeling like shit because she would say she's busy and has 2 kids and I am being very selfish and entitled for even brining it up to her. So with time, I just slowly kind of distanced myself. The final straw for me now is when my Brian decided to propose to me. He wanted to give me my dream rooftop proposal with roses all over and our closet friends and my sisters. He had told Cassie 2 weeks prior of his plans and not to say anything to me. The day she found out about my proposal, she had called my mother to let her know that she wants a wedding. She started talking to me as well as our parents about how she wants to throw a wedding and wants to get married. She told my parents they could not possibly throw a wedding for her younger sister without throwing a wedding for her. At the time, I didn't see any problems with what she said, mainly because I didn't know about Brian's plans about proposing to me, but her wedding comments threw me off because she and her fiancé have expressed many times that they didn't want a wedding. Cassie also didn't help Brian out with anything for the proposal. Meanwhile, we had people like my best friend that went above and beyond to help out and friends that came from out of state to support. Cassie actually came in 20 minutes before me and was the first to leave and didn't seem that happy. Then next day, she took the liberty of telling me I was a terrible sister and aunt to her children and how she can't believe how our relationship is because she asked me who I would make my maid of honor and I told that will go to my best friend. From that day, I have been very distant and not really talking to her as much because it was just the last straw. When I was a little bit younger, her comments and opinions means a lot to me and truly affected to the point of many breakdowns. But now that I am older, I am kind of numb to her comments and just stop caring about what she thinks. But I do really love my sister, and especially my little niece and nephew. I am worried that if it continues like this, we won't have any relationship anymore. Especially now that I am planning a wedding and she keeps making side comments. Currently, I just don't have any room to deal with her comments and judgment, so how do I deal with her? TLDR, my sister has never really been supportive, and not that I am getting older, my tolerance for her behavior has gone down, but I am very scared to lose our relationship and the relationship I have with her children.